Hey, it's me again, Bass from Massive Wagons. We had the great pleasure of talking to Doc, who is the face of our new album, Triggered. He's the guy on the cover. We went to talk to him about experiences he's had over the years, bullying, abuse, and in particular, about being a guy who's heavily tattooed on his face and on his head, and why that is still such a taboo in our society today, and just the things he's gone through, how he's overcome it. He's a brilliant guy, and it was just great crack to talk to him. So Doc, you're Doc.
I'm Doc.
We meet at last.
Good to meet you, Barry.
And you're for people that don't know, you're going to be the face of our next album, Triggered.
Yes.
They're just a headshot with your eyes closed. I would say this, but I think it's amazing. And thank you so much for doing it.
It's a bit surreal. Like it's just one of your mates from like back in the festival days just goes like, my husband's album, like do you want to be on the face? I was like, my face? Okay, why not?
We were looking on the internet. We had an idea of what we wanted, and Terry just, obviously my other half, she just said, I know the guy. We were all searching for ages, all these images, and then she just went, Doc. It's like it just came into her head. I know the perfect guy.
It's basically just. Started losing my hair. I was like, what am I going to do with this real estate? I know, I'll tattoo it. And then that choice is that, and then people go, that's a cool image that we can use.
I love the red. I think the red on your face just looks fantastic. It's just just that little bit of colour with the black and white looks.
But it was just like, it's very hard with face tattoos to get it to like, look like it's meant to fit.
Right. Yeah.
And, it's like, almost like a mask.
Yeah.
So it's very well designed, so it kind of blends in.
I can imagine it's something that you could get done and it could easily end up going wrong, and you're looking at it thinking, that is not what I imagined it to look like.
It's like your eyes look like they're behind.
Yeah, right.
And eyes end up like sunk in and that. So like, when you've took the album out and you've obviously have with my eyes closed and that, and then obviously, so now it's like my entire face is like, well, I'm not tattooed because obviously it's different eyeshadows and stuff, but it's like, it still flows and looks right.
You're much more of an expert on it than me, but it certainly seems still to be socially unacceptable, or to have facial tattoos, or socially weird. People struggle to deal with that. Is that something you experience regularly, or was it something you? I mean, I don't know how long you've had tattoos on your head and on your face.
Yeah.
Was it something that from years ago that was and over time has it got easier and people accepted it, or is it still generate the same reaction?
Like when I was like teenager, 15, 16, there was always a guy that used to ride around my village, and he had all his face tattoos, and everyone was like terrified of him, and you know what I mean? It was like, and he ended up actually getting his tattoos removed because he just couldn't deal with it.
Really, right?
And so I was like, I'll just keep my, like the Japanese style, just up to your elbows, above your knees, and do that. But then tattoos kind of became kind of like almost like a mainstream and kind of like commercialized. So it was like, wait, my subculture, that my identity, it's now for the masses, and you just basically, you using me as a marketing thing. It kind of irked me. So, and I've always wanted, to be heavily tattooed, and I was like, well, you know what I mean? You want to, commercialize my identity.
Yeah. I can imagine.
So I was like, I'll just push it. You know what I mean? And be all I want to be. I got the back of my head, the side of the head done 2004.
Right.
And getting your head tattooed in 2004 was like, is he in the gang or is he like, a convict? They were like,
I imagine.
And there's very much that kind of like people cross the road kind of like stare kind of thing. And then obviously as tattoos got more popular, like late 2000s, it was like, it was okay. And then I got rest of my head done like 2007. But then obviously you got your head tattooed and it's like, my face looks naked.
So you got your head done. You got your head done before your face.
Yeah, that was walking past the student flat in Liverpool town centre. It was like, have a bagel, and I'm like, really?
Well, people throwing stuff at you.
Yeah.
Right.
That was like 2007, 2008. And I'm walking out the tattoo studio, walked to the train station, and it was just like,
wow. I bet
people were just like,
yeah. I never even thought going into a place completely naked, if you like, and then coming out almost looking like it's a new identity, and and in a snap of fingers, people are immediately pointing and judging or looking and staring. That must have been weird.
There was a big difference from doing your head to doing your face.
Yeah.
But I was still like, you know, I've committed, I want to do this. But face tattoos have still got that taboo.
Yeah. Have you done it because you've wanted it to be extreme and wanted to stand out?
A lot of comments I get, not so much on my own social media because I have quite a small platform, but like my tattoo artists and stuff like that, I have quite a big, and people going, you're just doing it for attention and all this lot. And it's like, I'm doing whatever I feel, like what I'm passionate about, and a happy bonus is, people just leave me alone in my little world, and it's like, great. But now it's like, it's the opposite way now. People are like overly interested.
Right,
like,
okay.
I'll go to my local pub, I'll just sit at the bar and have a drink. And like every single person that comes to bar for a drink asks about my tattoos.
Are they generally nice? Are they generally? Do you like talking about them, or does it bore?
No. At the end of the day, if you tattoo your whole face and you don't want to talk about them,
don't tattoo your face.
You don't tattoo your face. At the end of the day, I mean, it used to be people avoided you, but now it's people want to talk to you because they find it really interesting.
Right.
And a lot of people are like, I wish I could do that. You know what I mean? It's just do it.
Interesting, isn't it? That's interesting.
But it's gone over probably a 10, 12-year period.
Yeah.
It's gone from people going, why would you do that? You know what I mean? And say, like, when I lived in Liverpool, I used to get, like, abuse on the bus, abuse on the street. I'm like, why have you done that? You know what I mean? And loads of comments on social media like, this is what minimum wage looks like and all this lot. And then my mates are, like, commenting. I don't retort to it, but my mates will do it and go, well, you know, he's doing, like, his 3rd degree at the moment. And
this is
the thing, and it's like, tattoos are £100 an hour, mate. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
They don't see past that. But the same people that were like throwing bagels at me or like they're now going like sick respect, and it's like that flip. Very few people do it themselves. It seems to be head tattoos. Because obviously, like Beckham's got his head tattooed, and other footballers, I think.
Yeah, that's an interesting point. Yeah.
But face tattoos is, you know, it's still on outliers. You know, of society, it's still kind of almost people see it as a rebellious kind of thing.
Right.
The only culture it's really come into is kind of like, what do they call it? Like the mumble rappers and that. Like I look at photos when I didn't have tattoos and I look weird, but then I don't even really realise that I have tattoos all over my head.
Is that something that you're still conscious of, or do you not even take that in anymore?
I don't notice it as much. No. My friends kind of notice it more, especially my family. My grandma just keeps shouting at people like, "He's a nice boy," and it's like,
yeah, that's a real generation thing, isn't it? That's obviously you're like, "Come on, you don't have to tell people that," you know.
Yeah, not so much now, because it's kind of transformed of like, you know, almost the kind of criminal association with like heavily tattooed to kind of, they're either a barber or a work in a coffee shop these days.
Yeah, of course.
But I over the years I still get, not as much now, but I get heckled in the street. And my favourite one was I was in London at London Tattoo Convention. Obviously not at the convention itself, just walking around London. And some guy's like, "Fucking hell, you look like pure Satan, bruv." And that's like my favourite one ever.
That's fucking, I
mean, obviously that accent was terrible, and please edit that out.
Where were you, in Australia?
Don't know, mate. It's just like...
that's hard to understand whether that's an insult or a compliment.
I took it as a compliment.
That could be somebody just sort of, paying you a bit of a compliment, really.
I think I had that. I think I had that actually as like, you know, like my little bio on WhatsApp for quite a while. You know, where it's just like status. I think I had that like, "You look like spoiled Satan, bruv."
Has there ever been any sort of real nasty abuse? Have you had any experiences or encountered anything? Has anybody really had a problem with you about it or got in your face?
You know, there's that perception is like, you're automatically, you know, double-hard bastard because you've got tattoos on your face. So if I fight you and I win, I look like a double-hard bastard. And I'm like, I can't get my head around this logic.
It makes no sense, does it?
If you're not happy to talk about tattoos and you can't have a bit of banter with people about it, the like thing, don't get your face tattooed because it's just, you know what I mean?
Well, the idea of the album, and the album's called Triggered, it's basically... It's people being triggered by things they know nothing about, and they have no right. I don't think they have any right commenting on. Certainly not firing into people for no reason. You know. I mean, and you can control your social media family and friends, I suppose. But
Yeah.
you know, have you ever found that you've got like you've had to deal with people online who just like you said about the you know, oh, this is what minimum wage looks like. I mean, that must. Did you ever react to it, or do you just?
No.
You're pretty good at like just thick skin, just get it.
Yeah, I've learned over my life, you know, to have that, you know, don't react to it, you know what I mean? But I end up going in the army, so
All right.
that kind of like,
Yeah.
you get a tough skin with that.
Of course you do. Yeah, I was in the Air Force.
Yeah.
For 5 years, and it was the best thing I ever did. Yeah. School is just it can be hell, can't it?
Yeah.
It's hell. But once you get through school. You can leave all that behind and become your own person. And like you said, you join the army, I joined the Air Force, and you just become tolerant of it. Don't you? I don't think you should have to be.
No, but you have to develop that resilience and not
you do.
bothered. And it's just like words can be powerful, you know what I mean, and they can affect people. But it's that, you know, when other people, like especially on social media, they take offence on your behalf. It's not worth the energy to rise to it, because obviously it's kind of like it's giving them attention, which is what they're doing it for. Yeah. But then it's like, why are they wasting their energy? You know what I mean?
I can't understand it. I can't understand the process between the head and the fingers sometimes with people. It's like, why do they waste their time doing? I don't know what frame of mind or where they are in their lives or what's going on.
But it's that social media thing. They want to get attention, and they go for the. I almost call it like the lowest hanging fruit.
Right? Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Easy attention, trolling, isn't it? It's an instant reaction.
Because it's basically like, without being like an armchair psychologist, it's just basically. It boils down to positive reinforcement. It's the, you know, they're getting rewarded for something.
Yeah, right.
Even that negative. So it's kind of, as a society, we basically reward negative behaviour.
Yeah.
Like if you I'm just been learning to use Reddit recently, and it's like if you say something positive and nice, you get downvoted. You say something horrible, then you get upvoted.
You know, I never even really thought of it like that. The positive reinforcement. Over that, you get attention and likes and stuff for being an asshole.
So it's like, you know, it's, you know, your reward system.
It's addictive, isn't it?
Yeah. And then it's a cycle that goes, well, I was horrible to that person, and I got all this attention, all these likes, so they just perpetuate that behaviour.
Yeah. I'll be horrible to more people. You learn to ignore it. I beat myself up about it. Why didn't I challenge it? I feel gutless and I feel like a wimp for not. Do you find that people in you're clearly big into your music. Do you find that the people you felt at home in the music scene a lot more? Have you ever found any bother or trouble from people within like the heavy music scene? You know,
like when I'm walking around, you know, like driving around Greater Manchester and that, and it's just kind of like people do a double take and that. But then I go to like Bloodstock or, you know, Brutal Assault that I've been to recently, before obviously, but like 2019 and that, and it's like people don't bat an eyelid. And it's, as I was saying before, you know, like you don't have that kind of, I've lost that ability to be incognito and just blend into the background.
But you bet you do there, do you? You bet you must.
Yeah.
It must be.
It's just like,
is it a nice feeling?
Yeah. Well,
is it a conscious feeling that do you feel that, or do you know, when you're walking around Bloodstock and you're just like nobody's. It's just like the side divisions, nobody's going.
Yeah.
What's he got on his head?
But it's weird. Like when I had a couple of head tattoos, it was funny going to Bloodstock because there was a thing where, because obviously bald head, beard, head tattoo. It's Kerry King.
Really? All right. Okay.
Yeah. So there was like a thing like early Bloodstock's like 2008, 2010, and that. And it was just like, oh, you look like Kerry King. And like my mates all had this drinking game was like every time somebody said you look like Kerry King, I had to like do 3 fingers of my beer.
Oh, brilliant.
And it was just like...
Turn it into a drinking game. That's fucking brilliant.
Yeah. But obviously now I've done like my whole head. I don't get it so much because Kerry King doesn't have his whole head done.
No, right.
So yeah, it was, you know, when you in the music world and that, it's kind of people that compare you to things, and it's like, I don't think there's any malice within the music world.
No.
But people just go like, well, you're doing it because
he's a hero, or you're right.
Yeah. You know, you've listened to Slave for 30 years, so you've tattooed your head. Well, you know, you've grown a beard.
People are very presumptuous, aren't they?
Yeah. And it's like, well, no, it's just like, start losing my hair at 28. Free real estate.
What can I do?
Yeah, just tattoo the fucking thing.
Does it? I don't want to ask that. I'm going to ask the question you've been asked 1 billion times. Does it hurt getting your head?
No, I mean, side of my head's felt that a little bit more, but that was because I think I've had 3 cover-ups on the side of my head.
Right, okay.
So it's tatting over like scar tissue style thing, but my face was fine. It was like one line there was like, oh, that's a bit You only get one loop round the world, so just
of course.
do whatever I want. You know what I mean?
Thanks for coming down, Doc.
Yeah.
Check him out. Check the face of our album.
Yeah.
It's probably going to be absolutely everywhere, which is going to be a bit weird for you.
Coming to a billboard in your neighbourhood.
Yeah.
Sorry to your kids.
Love it. Well, thank you for coming down.
It's a pleasure to chat to you, mate.
Part of the album.
No worries, man.
Much respect.
Cheers, man.
Yeah, which way around do you want to go?
I'm gonna go with Fuck the Haters because it's a single, isn't it?
That's it.
Tongue out because it's like, you know, metal.